you're ready.
Okay, let's catch up. This week we had a report come out on Tuesday morning. We'll go over the corn first. It's a pretty significant report that actually come out. So probably the key things we're watching was the carryouts. This year's carryout on August 31st is going to be about 2.1 billion bushel of corn. That was about where trade was expecting. The markets didn't react much. Probably the big key to the report was the carryout of the 2020-21 crop in August of 2021. We're going to see a 3.3 billion bushel carryout of corn. That'll be the largest carryout of corn that we've had free stocks wise in modern history. Back in the 80s, we had more than 3 billion bushel, but that was government owned grain, not free stocks. So when I say free stocks, that grain will be available to the marketplace. What really makes that significant right now, though, is they've actually increased the feed demand for next year up to 6 billion bushel of corn. So we're at 5.7 billion this year. We're going to move that up to 6 billion next year. We're finding that pretty hard to conceive right now because we're seeing some euthanasia go on in the hog market right now. We're not seeing the hatches come out of the chickens. So I'm not sure how they're projecting an additional 300 million bushel of corn to be fed a year from now when it appears that we might have less livestock. We're really still struggling in the livestock industry right now. The other side of that would be the ethanol. They've got ethanol pumped back up to within 200 million bushel, where we were at the record high last year. We did drop it down about 400 million bushel this year, but they think 200 million that'll come back next year. So we really think that 3.3 billion bushel of corn can grow maybe closer to 4 billion bushel. I will tell you that's very, very negative to the market. That's not $3.30 corn like we've got it today. That's $2.50 corn is what that is. So be very, very cautious out here. Don't get caught up thinking this corn market's got to rally. We've got some dry areas out in the western corn belt right now, starting in actually Colorado, coming through Kansas, Nebraska, a little finger going up through Iowa and touches maybe southern Minnesota. So we're watching that very, very closely. If we could get a drought started out west, perhaps that could help the market a little bit. But once again, don't think we're going to go out there and see $4 corn. It's just not going to happen. We've got way too much corn. China's been an active buyer over the last week, and that's going to help us a little bit, but China's not going to take us out of the surplus corn that we've got next year. So as far as beans goes, it's a fairly neutral report on beans also. We didn't see a lot change, 580 million bushel carryout for this year, a little bit more than what we was expecting, and next year's carryout's going to go down to about 400 million bushel. That's still too many beans. So we've got trouble in the bean market also. China's been a very, very active buyer of beans this week, but we're going to watch that market. So once again, if we see a little pop in this bean market, I would recommend getting some sales on. In corn, we've got to be very, very aggressive sellers of corn. So with that being said, we'll talk to you next week.